Alright, another episode of CONVOS with KEEGS, episode 98. 2 away from 100. That is fucking crazy to think about it. When was the first one that I did? Man, that had to have been in the studio at some point last year. 100 episodes. That's crazy to think about that I've like sat down and recorded into a mic, talked about shit 100 different times. And compared to, a lot of the successful podcasts, like that's nothing. I think Joe Rogan has he's the number one podcast in the world, like the most viewership consistently, and I want to say he's definitely in the 2000s for episodes. That's nuts to think that someone has recorded themselves on a mic talking about random shit 2,000 times. I want to know how many hours that is, because most episodes are 2 to some of them are 4 hours. So let's just assume that all of them are 2. 2 times 2 is 4. That's 4,000 hours worth of recording, and that's on the low side. And I've done 100 that are about an hour each, so that's 100 hours. Not bad. Still a long ways away from quote unquote becoming a master at it. They say that you need 10,000 hours worth of practice before you become a master at it. So I don't know the exact math, but I think I'm a tenth. No, I might be 1% of the way there. But hey, you gotta be happy with the progress. I'm proud of myself for sticking with it, even though I haven't been consistent. I've still stuck with it, and most podcasts only last 7 episodes, so close to 100. I am proud of that. I'm proud of my dedication to it. Like I said, even though I haven't been consistent, I'm still going. I'm still trying to do it. And if you've been listening from the very beginning, which I don't know if anybody has, but you've seen the trials and tribulations of me doing this and Lonely Cowboy, and just like the ups and downs that I continuously go through, and I'm still going through them right now. Life is hard. Starting a business by yourself is also hard. Trying to manage my head and the ups and downs that life's going to throw at you no matter what the circumstances are. It's also hard, I'm trying harder now to not make excuses and just get work done and not think about it too much, because that's where I really go wrong, is where I start thinking about shit too much. I overanalyze. I overthink pretty much everything, and it just puts my brain in a fucking blender. But hey, not gonna dwell too much on that right now. I got some notes that I want to run through, just kind of random shit that came to mind, and do a solo podcast, which is never easy. But I don't have a guest right now. I don't have a place to go have guests on the podcast. I could do them online, which I think I've reached out to a few people for that. So we'll see how that goes. I do enjoy doing guest-based interviews more, just because I like learning from other people and their experiences with life, no matter what the career path is. Typically, I've been doing a lot of tattoo artists, just because that's the industry that I'm kind of targeting, and especially now that I started tattooing. Some things about tattooing that I've learned so far. Like I said in the last solo podcast I did, I'm just a little tiny fucking shrimp in a big ocean, in the world of tattooing. Like, I'm just now dipping my feet into the artist side of things, and trying to be a successful tattoo artist, and market myself that way. And one of the biggest things that I've realized is, like, when you're an artist of any sort, but I'm going to talk about specifically tattoo artists, being on social media is the only way that you're going to get eyeballs on your art. It's not the only way, but it's the most efficient way. And that's where the eyeballs are. So you have to promote yourself on there. And I talk about social media so much in all of my podcasts, and you know, the downfalls of it, because I do think that it can be very detrimental for a lot of people, and I think it is detrimental for a lot of people, whether they realize it or not. And just the consequences of how it shapes your brain, how it shapes your thinking, and like I said, it subconsciously, it's basically shaping your thoughts and shaping your opinions and everything. And it's frustrating when you know that, when you're conscious of it, and when you're like actively trying to dissect what you're viewing, your thought patterns, your opinions on things, because you can feel that what you're consuming on social media is like shaping the way you think and who you are. So when I take like social media breaks, it's more because like I want to be in control of my head. I want to be in control of my thoughts, my opinions, how I view the world, how I kind of go about my life without any distraction or any other input from social media. In the real world, like I want to learn from people. I want to share my experiences. I want people to share their experiences with me and get a better grasp person to person, because social media is a highlight reel, and tying it back into being an artist, specifically a tattoo artist, it's very easy to compare your work to other artists and think like, fuck, there's so many unbelievable tattoo artists out there with skills that are like, it's hard to fathom how good they are. And social media has provided that inspiration to like go and seek out an artist that you really love to get a tattoo by. And there's a place for every artist, and there will be customers for everyone, regardless of your style. For me, it's like, fuck, I know that I'm capable of doing this. I know I can be a successful tattoo artist. And I'm teetering around the line of like, do I want to create my own style that is kind of untraditional to regular tattooing, in the sense that I have a very limited skill set when it comes to tattooing, because I've taught myself, and I've tried to, you know, dabble with different styles and different. So let me take a step back. To give a rundown, in tattooing, there's a lot of different needles. There's round liners, round shaders, mags, curve mags. I think there's a few others that I'm forgetting. And then there's different sizes, like a 3-round liner, 5-round liner, 9-round liner, 11. All those sizes are the same for the shaders and the mags, etc. And in order to get different textures and different shades on your tattoo, you have to use different liners, different needles, you have to use different techniques like whip shading, brush shading, stipple shading, dot work, and then like, for example, a lot of American traditional is thick, bold lines, like crispy lines, so they're using a lot of thicker liners, and then they're going to switch to a mag to get some of the shading down. And then me in particular, I want to do just black and gray, So you have to go through all the gray washes and figure out which grays to use. Ooh, excuse me. And like I said, it's just a lot that can go into it. Oh man, I don't know why I'm burping. But in the traditional like tattoo apprenticeship, which is how most tattoo artists get their start, you learn all of those different techniques. And it's so vastly different for everyone and for every apprenticeship, because I was talking to my friend who's a tattoo artist. She used to live in Denver. Now she lives in Mexico. We were talking about apprenticeships, and she said, like, you want to find an artist that is similar to the style that you want to do. So, for example, me, if I wanted to find an apprenticeship, I wouldn't go to an artist who typically does color work or an American traditional artist, because that's just not the style that I want to do. That being said, finding an apprenticeship or tattooing in general and learning how to tattoo is like the Wild West. Like, there's no rules and there's no set structure in how you learn. So I'm trying to figure out, what my style is, what I want it to be, and how I want my tattoos to look, how I want them to stand the test of time. So many different variables. And I can continue to teach myself. However, it's just like, it's hard to teach yourself when you don't exactly know. You can't put a finger on what exactly you're trying to learn. Like stipple shading is something that I'm very interested in, and I can practice it as much as I want, and I think I'm doing it right, but there's just no way to fully know unless you're with another tattoo artist kind of showing you the ropes. And I've kind of been against apprenticeships for so long. Not against them, but I just, when I first started, I was like, an apprenticeship doesn't really seem like the route for me, because I've heard horrible stories about apprenticeships from many artists that I've interviewed, many artists that I've talked to, and trying to find one is difficult, even because it is a time commitment for the artist to bring you in, teach you the ways of tattooing, the ways to run a shop, etc., etc. And it's, like I said, it's the Wild West, so there's no time frame to when you can start tattooing on people. Like, there's just so many things that it's so different for everybody that it's hard to kind of commit to that, because you just really don't know what you're getting yourself into. You don't know what a tattoo artist is going to expect from you as an apprentice. And also, if you kind of progress quickly, let's say you progress and you become a solid tattoo artist in 6 months, sometimes the tattoo artist or your mentor is not going to let you kind of blossom and do your own thing. It's just very weird, and I have a hard time explaining it perfectly. I don't think there is a perfect explanation to it. Moral of the story is, I love tattooing, and I'm trying to figure out if I want to find an apprenticeship at a studio, or if I want to continue teaching myself and kind of going through the trials and tribulations that way. So, I'm at a crossroads with what I want to do, because I want to keep doing this podcast, obviously, but this podcast will go on regardless, so I'm not worried about that. Lonely Cowboy stuff, I'm going to do some rebranding for it, make things a little bit simpler for me, give a little bit of a further timeline before I start really pushing it, so I have a back catalog of things to post and whatnot. And the scholarship fund is another thing. Like, the tattoos that I do, I want to put money into the scholarship fund to continue to grow that and hopefully make that a big part of tattooing for me. as far as the Lonely Cowboy and the scholarship fund, I, I feel like sometimes when companies or brands put a real message and a real tangible like cause behind them, people aren't as drawn to them because it's almost like not a charity case, but I've just seen so many successful clothing companies in particular, and brands and companies that don't really have like a real meaning behind them or a real cause that they're trying to help out, and they're just doing it for the fashion. They're just doing it to create a brand, which is totally fine, and it works. Like that's usually how the most successful companies and brands work, is they don't have that right off the bat. Sometimes later on they'll do more like charitable work, or they'll donate at events here and there, but I have yet to see a startup. I'm talking specifically about Lonely Cowboy. Like the whole goal from when I started to where I am now is to raise awareness and further mental health education through Lonely Cowboy. And I just don't know if that is the way to do it right now. I don't know if that is the recipe to create a successful brand. Don't know why. I would think that like cause-based brands and companies should be the future, and they should be what we're striving for. And like I think to create a better world for the next generation, we have to acknowledge that there's a lot of shit we need to deal with in the world. And whether that's mental health, whether that's whatever, name the cause. I just think that we need more effort in helping others, as opposed to just thinking about it selfishly and thinking, what can I do just for myself to grow this company, to grow my wealth, whatever it may be. I don't think that's the way to change the world. And that has always been my goal, is to change the world and change mental health education specifically. And it's really frustrating because, and I guess this is just that naiveness in me when I started, I thought that this would blow up quickly because it was a cool company, it had a cool message, and there was a tangible cause that I was reaching for and striving for through the scholarship fund the whole way through. And it just wasn't the case. Like I expected more people to bite on that and think like, oh, this is something different that we've never seen. This is a company that cares about mental health education first, and then, profiting second. But it's just not the case. And I blame myself probably more than I should, but I'm the only one kind of doing it, so I'm the only person to blame. And that just, rattles in my mind about, is this the right move? Like, why am I putting so much effort and attention into this? Why am I putting so much money into this? Why am I continually stressing myself out to the point of like, it's hard for me to sleep. It's hard for me to do anything else besides think about this and why it's not working. That being said, I'm not quitting by any means. I will never quit on this. I think I truly believe that with time and with the continual trials and tribulations of doing this and trying to make it successful, I will find the recipe for it. And that probably means taking some steps back to take more steps forward. So that's kind of where my head's at with Lonely Cowboy and tattooing and my goals and dreams to to build this into what I think it is. It's hard for me to relay that vision when I don't have, I put everything into this. I put all my money into this. I put a lot of effort and a lot of hard work into doing it. What people don't see is the constant anxiety, the constant stress, the constant doubting myself and my abilities, and getting over that hump. Like anyone who's dealt with any sort of mental health issues, and that's why like I am so passionate about it, because I deal with it every fucking day. And I understand how hard it is. I realize how difficult it can be and how hard I am in myself to do these things. That's why I wanna do the scholarship fund to give kids just a little snippet of hope that they can do whatever they want. They can chase their dreams. And I keep trying to tell myself, like, I am young. I'm only 23. This is the first real business endeavor that I've gone after, and I have time on my side. Like I can not relax and take my foot off the gas, but it's okay to fuck up, and it's okay to put everything into something and not get the rewards out of it just yet. I forget who said this, but it was in some sort of some podcast. Fuck, I can't remember the name of it. But it was like a pretty successful dude, a stand-up dude. He was talking about, being in your 20s and not knowing what the hell's going on and trying to figure yourself out and being mad at the world and everything like that. And he was like, you can fuck up your life in your 20s because you don't have as much responsibility. You don't have the chaos of having kids and a job that you can't leave because you need to pay the bills and help provide for your family. Like if you're in your 20s, your early 20s I should say specifically, like you can go balls to the wall and give it everything you have, and you can fuck your life up and still be okay because you do have time on your side, and fucking your life up will just give you lessons and experience and what not to do, and then learn from that and grow from that, and all that motivational jazz. But yeah, so I'm at a point now where I know I need to start making money. So I'm trying to figure out a job that I can do that outside of Lonely Cowboy and tattooing that'll make me consistent money, so then I can fund this project, being Lonely Cowboy and tattooing. I think the unknown is just what kind of scares me a little bit. I don't want to lose the fire in me. I don't want to get comfortable, and I feel like I'm at a comfortable place right now. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm very uncomfortable with my circumstances regarding my career and the company. I'm comfortable in a sense where like I have so many, I'm so grateful for so many things, and I'm blessed to be in the position I'm in. I'm blessed to be able to be able to pursue this and not worry about having kids or just some other, I'm healthy for the most part. So I'm very grateful for those things, and I keep telling myself like you can't be so hard on yourself because you have so many things to be grateful for. And it's just a constant loop between like being anxious and then being grateful and then being anxious and then being grateful. So trying to balance that out and trying to balance and get out of my head and just fucking do the shit that I know I need to do. That's the hardest part. And doing it alone, that's another thing, is like trying to do this shit alone is so hard because there's no one telling me on a day-to-day basis what I need to do. There's no one telling me like this is the direction we should go. These are the steps we need to take, etc., etc. Being like your own boss, in a way, is by far the hardest thing when starting a company. I think personally, and being disciplined to do the work when you're getting no results. Like doing work and getting no results is very hard. But when you can see the vision, and you just got to keep reminding yourself, like, this is where I'm trying to go. These are the steps I need to take to get there. But like I said, just no results for an extended period of time is very frustrating, and it definitely makes me question myself and question everything. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I putting so much money into this? Why am I giving this so much time and attention, and why am I thinking about it 24/7 when it's not producing anything? And that's the very frustrating part. But more motivation, like every successful person I've ever heard in my life, everybody that I look up to, they all say the same thing, is like, it is really hard to stop somebody that just keeps going no matter what, and they just don't quit and they don't stop, and they push forward no matter what, no matter how hard shit gets, no matter the financial circumstances, no matter what. If you just keep going, eventually it'll all pay off. And now that I'm in year 2 of Lonely Cowboy, and a few months into tattooing, when I'm not seeing the results that I want, it's very frustrating. And that's on no one but myself. Coming to terms with that is difficult, but that's the reality of it. I have to work harder. I have to push myself more. I have to get out of my head, stop thinking about shit, and just start doing. And I can say this right now on a podcast, but it doesn't matter if I say it. I have to fucking do it. So that's where I'm at. I'm just at a crossroads with my head. I'm trying to get my head straight. I'm trying to, be disciplined and take the necessary steps that I need to take to keep pushing, and just don't fucking quit. Really, that's it. I just cannot quit. I cannot give up on this. It means too much to me. I think the vision in my head that no one else sees, it makes it all worth it if I can get there, But it's just a matter of time, and everyone says be patient, and I tell myself that, be patient, but it gets tough, It gets tough. But that's enough of that rant. Let's see what else I got on the list. I've been doing cold showers for a very long time now. I don't exactly remember when I started cold showers, but it's been a good chunk of time where consistently I've woken up, gotten in the cold shower, and it started by getting in and doing cold at the end, and now I'm at the point where it's straight into the cold, and we're getting into the winter or fall and winter months, so it's going to get harder. But that is one thing I think being disciplined in is very good and very healthy and beneficial for your brain, for your physical health, everything. And it fucking sucks. Like this morning I woke up, it was chilly. It was chilly when I woke up, and I knew that I had to get in the shower, and I knew that it would make me feel better. There was no part of me that wanted to get in that goddamn shower. Absolutely no part of me, but I did it, and I felt way better afterwards. I always do. And, I preach this to all of my friends and family. It's like, that is a cheat code. If you're struggling with energy in the morning, or brain fog, or whatever it is, you get in the cold shower, straight cold, like no, it's only cold water. You don't even touch the hot side. You do that for 3 minutes every morning, you're going to you're gonna feel like Superman. It is unlike any drug, pretty much anything. The feeling you have afterward is just being able to overcome that and accomplish that right in the morning. You can't beat it, and I can't stress that enough. That being said, if you are not experienced with cold water, I wouldn't recommend starting as cold as you can be. Ease into it, but just know that the goal is to get to straight cold right away. And you have to maintain your breath. Like, you can't freak out in there. You have to just maintain your breath, realize like it's okay. It's just cold water. Like, it's not going to kill you. You just have to get through it, breathe through it, accept that it sucks, and keep going. What else do I have? So I had a few weddings these past weekends. So fun. It was a great time, just being around family and friends, and yeah, I mean, I got super drunk and I realized that the hangovers are just too expensive for me, and alcohol just it's not it. It's just not. And so I decided I'm going to be sober for a while. I don't know how long, but yeah. I think alcohol is one of the worst things that anyone could do for their brain. And I think anyone struggling with mental health, if you cut that out, you will see a drastic change in your brain, just thoughts and how you go about life. It's so drastic to the point where I don't understand how alcohol is legal. Like, it's so normal, and it's so culturally acceptable that people don't understand what they're doing to themselves. And I saw this other podcast, and it was two guys that didn't necessarily have like a drinking problem. They just decided to go sober because they wanted to create a better life for themselves and be more productive, and et cetera, et cetera. And they said, like, after being sober for a 6 months or whatever, they realized that, like, in most situations where alcohol is heavily consumed, like going to the club or whatever, they realized that going to the club with loud music and a bunch of fucking people and just like chaos is such an unenjoyable place to be that people get shit-faced because it's so unenjoyable that it makes it manageable and it makes it fun. Like, going into a club sober is just, for most people, I mean, there's a, sober people can have fun at clubs too. All I'm saying is, like, people get drunk to make times, like, how do I word this? Like, to make a unfun time fun. But the repercussions of it are, you're not thinking clearly, and you say shit you don't want to say. There's just so many negatives, and I truly don't understand why people get drunk so much. Like, if you get drunk every single week to the point where you have a hangover, you're basically poisoning yourself 52 times a year if you do it every week. Even if you do it once a month, and like I said, you get drunk and you party and you have a horrible hangover, you're shattering your immune system 12 times a year. If you only do it once a month, you're getting sick 12 times a year. I don't want to get sick once a year or twice a year. And, that's inevitable. You're going to get a cold here and there, but it just makes no sense to me why anyone would want to voluntarily get trashed once a week and feel shitty over 52 times in a year. Like, that just boggles my mind. And unfortunately, it's just the norm now. It's just the fucking norm. And that is the world we live in, the country we live in. And it's a big part of social acceptance is like, do you drink and do you party? And, it's just so backwards to me. And I don't like, this is where I feel so disconnected from a lot of people in the world. And I have a really hard time relating to people and a big reason is that, like, I can't wrap my head around why anyone would want to do that. Like, it's almost to me that people don't know, most people, this is a generalized statement, it could be true, it could not be true, but I would say most people don't know what it feels like to be healthy, to be hydrated, to be physically fit, to have mental clarity, to kind of be in control of their thoughts and in control of their body. I don't think most people know what that feels like. And if you do know what that feels like, it's addicting, because you understand that feeling, the longevity of it is so much more valuable than a 4 hour, 5 hour, 6 hour drinking fest, to then have 2 days, 3 days, 4 days of just fucking hell where you're anxious as fuck, you're depressed, you feel like shit, your body hates you. It's just, I could go on about this forever, but I'm not going to, because I know that I don't know if it's digestible for a lot of people. But hey, go sober with me if you want to. I'm gonna go sober for a while. I started Sunday. Not, like I said, I don't have a drinking problem, but I know so many people that in my family and I know friends, and I've heard so many different stories of alcohol just controlling someone's life, and dealing with alcoholics is the worst thing in the goddamn world. Like, alcoholics are brutal. There's no good to come from being an alcoholic. Absolutely none. And if being sober, I think is, I hope it becomes the norm, or not the norm, but I hope more people consciously, before they have a problem with drinking, they say, like, okay, this is not serving me, and this is not creating the best version of myself. This is not as fun as it once was in high school. I think once you turn 21, drinking becomes way less fun. And most people would agree with that, because there's no, like, thrill to it. There's no, like, oh, I gotta go find someone to get beer, and, like, it's, there's a party happening at this house, like, we want to have a good time. I totally understand that. It's not legal, but before I was 21, drinking was more fun because it was, like, taboo. But now, once you turn 21, it's like, you can do this whenever the hell you want. Why even bother? That being said, special occasions like weddings and celebrations of life, I totally understand, and I'm one that will continue to have a good time, drink some booze with my friends and family, and enjoy the moment, enjoy the celebration, and enjoy the events that I feel are worthy of a 3-day hangover. A random fucking Saturday, a random Friday night, I don't see any reason why those are worthy of putting yourself through hell the next few days, and your brain especially. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I just have a fucked up brain. I know I have a fucked up brain, but I just care too much about my health, and I care too much about being in control of my thoughts, and just being in control of myself. And alcohol is the opposite of that. You lose all control, and it's just not good. What else do I got? I want to wrap this up soon, but I just keep rambling. These solo pods, man, you never know where these are going to go, because you just start talking and talking, and I feel like I'm talking into the camera. I'm pretending that I'm talking to you guys, the audience, but I really don't know who listens. So let's see. Yeah, I guess last point is like more on the mental health side of things. It kind of ties into alcohol a bit, but I'm trying to learn more about ADHD and what it is, because I have known for a long time that I've thought I've had ADHD for years, like since I was like 13 or fucking, I think, no, in middle school. It was in middle school, like 10 or 11, I realized that I just wasn't thinking the same as everyone else, and I realized that there was something off about me. Not to say that ADHD is a bad thing, but it's a beautiful thing, and when you play into the strengths of it, it's amazing. But when you don't understand it, and when it's hard to cope with it, and it's hard to manage it when you don't know what the fuck is going on. Why am I why do I feel so different and disconnected to everyone else around me? Why am I thinking these things and no one else is? Why do I do these things but no one else is? And that's the real frustrating part. And I'm still trying to learn about it, and I'm still trying to manage it, and play to my strengths, and figure out what works for me. And it's so difficult and frustrating a lot of the times, and it's a battle every single goddamn day to find the motivation and manage it as best you can, I guess. And the spark notes of what ADHD is, and this is not a professional analysis, but from my understanding, it's a lack of dopamine. Like my brain doesn't produce the normal amounts of dopamine that someone without it does. So it's hard for me to find enjoyment and motivation in a lot of things that I don't find interesting, or that I don't see the bigger picture of. And it's just hard for me to do shit that I don't think is worthy of my time or energy, because I have so many other things that I want to do, and so many other things that I'm thinking, and overanalysis all the time on everything, which is crippling. But the like I said, playing to my strengths is the difficult part, because a lot of the times that's just not the norm in society. Like, I can't just be an artist and do what I want to do, because it doesn't fit into the society norms, and it doesn't, I just think I don't know how to describe it, and it's really frustrating to try and figure out. But yeah, we'll wrap that up. Episode 98, CONVOS with KEEGS, 2 away from 100. That still boggles my mind, but I'm stoked we're there. Thank you guys for listening, watching, viewing. Please subscribe. Please follow Lonely Cowboy. Lonely Cowboy Co. on Instagram. Follow CONVOS with KEEGS. Follow my page, Cowboy KEEGS, to see my tattoos. And have an amazing day. Try and take care of your brain a little bit more each and every day. That's the best advice I could give. That's the best advice a lot of people have given me, is just take care of your brain, take care of your physical health. Just keep pushing, don't give up, and be the best version of yourself you can be, and be honest with yourself. If alcohol is taking control of your life, cut that shit out. Get it the fuck out. Get it as far away from you as possible, because it'll just ruin your goddamn life, and it'll ruin the life of the people around you. And that's not just for alcohol, that's for anything that is, deep down is fucking you up. Get it out. Easier said than done, but that is the path to having a clear mind and taking control of your life and doing the shit that you want to do. Once again, thank you guys. Love you. Peace.